Hello everybody, this is my very first YouTube video. I have been wanting to start a YouTube channel for a very long time, but never got around to it because I always felt like I had to show up as the most perfect version of myself. My hair always had to be done, my makeup always had to be done in order to hop in front of a camera. I used to do TikTok back in 2020 and it just became such a chore for me to do because I felt like I had to have all of these things done in order to film a video, and that's just not sustainable because I realized that perfection isn't key, consistency is. So I want to show up as I am and just talk to you guys. As you can see, my hair is very greased up from I had a slicked back look today at work, so here I am, no makeup, nothing. I decided that I wanted to actually move forward with this today, and so here I am. So getting into the name of my YouTube channel, Soft Living with Danielle, I chose this name because I feel like life isn't always easy. It's not always comfortable. And you know, the best you can do is show up for yourself every single day and be present in the moment. And I just wanted to really give advice and tips on how to make life easier for yourself, because in my life, there were often times where I felt like I was just making things harder on myself for absolutely no reason at all. There was no reason that my life had to be that hard, but I was just sitting in depression, wallowing in self-pity, Grinch. And so I just really wanted to stop doing that. And about in 2023, I made those changes into my life to stay more organized, get more into fitness, and just really show up for myself and commit to the promises that I was making to myself. Because when you can't fulfill those promises to yourself, you can't build trust with like anyone in your life. You know, you're your number one person. You're the person you're spending all of your time with. So if you can't even trust your own self, then how are you supposed to trust anyone else, let anyone else into your life and just truly be happy? So I just really wanted to share a lot of that stuff with you guys through my videos, and wanted to make workout content as well as wellness, just everyday wardrobe, beauty, all the advice, all that I can give you. So today's topic of the video is I went too far on alone time, and here's why you should have a healthy balance. So to start with, I just wanted to give a little bit of backstory, kind of starting with college. I would say a pretty outgoing person throughout college, at least in the beginning of it. I would say, a lot of friends. I felt comfortable making connections with people, and I really loved surrounding myself with people. I really didn't like being alone. Even in high school, like, it would just bother me when I couldn't be hanging out with people constantly and I had to spend time in my room and I had to be working on my homework. I was just very reliant on outside forces and other people in my life, and that just was not healthy. I didn't see it at the time, but it just really wasn't. It wasn't until college that I truly noticed how unhealthy it was becoming, because I was putting a lot of my energy into things that are not constant, okay? So when you put your energy into outside forces that aren't constant into your life, when those things fall through and when those things don't go as planned, your whole day is ruined, your month is ruined, your emotions are ruined, because you just put so much of your emotions onto a single person, onto a plan that you made that maybe fell through. For me, it was definitely relationships and guys and friendships. So whenever I was fighting with a friend, or whenever just a situationship with someone fell through, I thought my life was entirely over because I did not have that built up trust with myself. And then obviously in 2020, COVID hit, and I feel like something changed in me where I just felt I got so comfortable spending time alone and not wanting to hang out with anyone. I think that's because we were just so programmed during that time to do that. you know, we had to find our own fun while we were locked inside of our house. And I actually started going, in the complete opposite direction. I developed pretty bad social anxiety. Like, I used to get extremely anxious I lived in the basement of a house with 4 other girls in college, and I used to get extremely anxious just to go upstairs and use the bathroom. It sounds crazy, but I just got so comfortable being a hermit that I would just get so anxious in social situations, or when I had to talk to one of my roommates. I don't know why, because these are people I felt so comfortable with my first 2 years of college, and I was hanging out with them every single day. And I just remember being so socially uncomfortable. You know, there's a lot of podcasts out there that talk about spending time with yourself and having self dates and just being comfortable with being alone, because I feel like a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. If they were to go and sit at a restaurant alone, they'd be thinking, oh no, is everyone else thinking about me? Why is she alone? Why isn't she here with anyone else? Like, what a weird person. And I got so deep into those podcasts to where I started romanticizing life so much and being alone. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I love everything that I have built from being alone, because I did create that trust within myself, and I created the space where I no longer felt uncomfortable being alone. I actually felt extremely comfortable with it. Now I'm getting to the point, so flash forward, I'm just sitting here realizing I don't have any friends. I don't have any social connection in my life outside of work, outside of my boyfriend. What went wrong? Like, really, what went wrong? So if you are the person that is in the stage in your life right now where you are very social and you do need to learn how to be alone, this video is not for you, because it's for people who are actually too comfortable with being alone where they're at in their life, because there is a balance, right? Just know that I am right beside you in this process. I'm only in the beginning stages of getting back out there. So just know, when I'm giving these tips and when I'm giving all of this advice, sometimes I'm giving it because I've lived through it, but in this instant, I'm giving it because I need to learn it for myself, right? So the first tip that I wanted to share with you guys on how to create that social environment for yourself again is have a third-party environment. So this could be a coffee shop, it could be the library. You don't even have to talk to people, to be honest. You can just find a space where there's other people around and sit in it. Maybe someone will come up to you and say hi. Maybe it'll spark a conversation. This is a really great exposure therapy, I guess you could call it, on getting comfortable with being around people again and just having that shared space, those common interests, hobbies. Say you're working at a coffee shop and someone there is drinking their coffee and crocheting. You could go up to them and be like, oh, that's really cool. Learn more about it and spark that conversation. The second tip that I would give you is try to join Facebook groups. I know it sounds very millennial, but I've actually built a lot of, I wouldn't say good connections yet, because I just met someone on Facebook about a week ago, and we hung out and we have plans to hang out even more. And so just finding Facebook groups where people do have those common hobbies and interests where you can reach out to them, because they're on that page too, because they're looking for that connection too. Something that I learned throughout, being on these Facebook groups, or even Bumble BFF. If you don't know what that is, it's just the BFF form of Bumble. So not relationships, but for friendships. And something I learned from that is oftentimes people are looking for someone to be the initiator. A lot of people are waiting around to be asked to do something because they don't want to be the ones to initiate it. They want that friend that's kind of quote unquote annoying, or will ask them to do things a lot. And you might feel like you're coming across as annoying or being too pushy, but a lot of people do want that type of friend. And so that needs to be you. You need to be that person to do that. And the third one comes with a little bit of self-reflection. So you kind of need to ask yourself, what things do I truly like to do? What things do I feel like I only do because other people like? And what are some things that are maybe negotiable? If you're being too picky with friends, you're not always going to have every single thing in common with people. If you're being too picky in that sense, then you're never going to make any friends. I don't like country music. So if I find a friend that loves going to the gym, but they're into country music and they're into hunting, that's not really my thing. But that's the kind of person that I would usually write off because I have never lived a country lifestyle. I despise country music. But if you're just finding those common connections with people, it doesn't really matter what other things they're into because you don't have to do those things with them. You can just listen to them about those kind of things, and they'll listen to you about the kind of things that you're into. Like, I really like anime, I really like video games, and so someone might not be super into that, but they'll hopefully be willing to hear you out on those topics if you're willing to hear them out on other things. But with that being said, my problem with a lot of things is in my life I was always finding friendships of people who I like really didn't have things in common with. So don't ever fake who you are and fake your hobbies to feel like you have to conform to other people and what they like in order to make those connections. If you're sacrificing that part of you, then that's not a friendship that you want to have. So to recap, if you want to start putting yourself out there again, find a good third-party space that you can sit in, just get that exposure. Second, find groups on Facebook, Bumble BFF. As cheesy as it sounds, friendships don't come naturally to everyone. Sometimes you have to go and get them, and that's okay. And the third one being, don't shy away from someone just because they have one or two things that aren't in common with you, but at the same time balance that out with not sacrificing who you are to be friends with them. So I hope you found something in this video that you resonated with, or that you feel like fits into your life where you're at in this current moment. I know it was a little rocky. Like I said, I was just gonna set up my camera, show up as I am, talk to you guys. Not every episode is gonna be like this. I'm going to be doing a lot of day in the lives, wellness, fitness, skincare, glow up tips, just everything that I can give. And if you want to support me in my journey, I would really, really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, if you gave it a like, if you shared it with your friends, and I will see you on the next one.